Karoline Leavitt slaps Trump with $100 million lawsuit over shocking posts about her. 3 posts. Before sunrise. Karoline Leavitt stares at her phone, standing barefoot in the kitchen, coffee untouched, screen glowing with the unmistakable white and red interface of Truth Social. It's 6:04 a.m. Eastern. A notification pings again. The 3rd post has just dropped. Karoline Leavitt is no conservative. Controlled opposition. Funded by liberal billionaires. Don't be fooled. She's not MAGA. She's Madison Avenue pretending to care. Her fiancé walks in rubbing his eyes. Did you tweet something? She shakes her head. I didn't even mention him. And she hadn't. The night before, she sat on a Fox News panel, clean, measured, answering a question about Gen Z voter apathy. The host had asked whether the GOP's current messaging was missing the mark with young conservatives. Karoline had responded, sometimes we confuse volume with vision. If we want to win the future, we have to stop screaming at the past. She hadn't named names. She hadn't raised her voice. But someone, clearly, heard something they didn't like. By 6:06 a.m., all 3 posts are trending. Another rhino playing dress up for the camera. Where does her money really come from? Ask who paid for her airtime. You might be shocked. The hashtags follow. Hashtag fake conservative, hashtag Karoline the plant, hashtag not MAGA. Karoline refreshes her mentions. The replies are filling with vitriol, fast. Some calling her a traitor, others telling her to go join CNN where she belongs. She doesn't recognize half the accounts. Some don't even have real names. She turns to her comms director on speaker. Did I miss something? Did I say anything yesterday that could have been spun into this? Pause. Then carefully, we clipped the Fox segment. You said nothing wrong. Nothing even close to this. But he posted it like I insulted his family. He doesn't need a reason. Another pause. Then the voice lowers. This is going to explode. And it does. Within 30 minutes, screenshots of Trump's posts make the rounds on Telegram channels. Commentary podcasts pick it up before breakfast airtime. A conservative influencer tweets, told y'all Karoline was fake. The boss just confirmed it. The boss. As if that settles it. What shocks Karoline most isn't the attack itself, it's the intention. There's no misunderstanding. No misconstrued soundbite. Just targeting. The sarcasm drips from the phrasing. She's not MAGA. She's Madison Avenue pretending to care. Not just a dig. A branding demolition. From the man who once praised her rise as bold and young and sharp. She scrolls back 6 months to that old endorsement post, still live, still public. And now, this? By 7:15 a.m., a journalist texts her team. Any comment from Karoline on Trump's 3 posts this morning? Her press secretary replies automatically, we're reviewing the statements and will respond if appropriate. Karoline says nothing. Not yet. Because something's already shifting in her gut. This isn't just a smear. It's a signal. And not just to her. He's testing the room. To see who claps. To see who stays quiet. To see if she'll break. But Karoline Leavitt doesn't break. She calculates. And this time she's not logging on. She's logging everything. They called his school Karoline. Her mother's voice trembles on the other end of the line. Karoline presses the phone tighter to her ear. She's already dressed, blazer buttoned, preparing for a quiet morning meeting at the Manchester office. The plan was to stay off social media, keep things calm, and let the tweets blow over. But that's not how these things go anymore. They called Danny's school? She asks, slow and deliberate. They didn't say who they were. Just asked if he was your brother. If he was the one who made up the lies with you. Her mother swallows hard. The school administrator pulled him out of class to ask if everything was okay at home. Karoline shuts her eyes. The silence stretches. Then, tell Danny I'll handle it. Tell him not to talk to anyone. Not even friends. The tweets weren't even 24 hours old. And already, it wasn't just her inbox that was filling up. It was their mailboxes. Their phones. Their doorsteps. By mid-morning, the campaign's internal Slack is no longer discussing town hall logistics or budget line items. It's one long emergency thread. Got another one. Caller with a Texas number asked if she'd been arrested yet. Voicemail just now said, traitor deserves no protection. Do we send that one to Capitol Police too? Someone just posted a screenshot of her old college dorm. We need that flagged. Karoline walks into the room. Everyone pause. Listen. The staff looks up. Some are mid-scroll. One is crying, silently but obviously. She doesn't raise her voice. That's not her way. Turn your phones off. Right now. For 15 minutes. They hesitate. But they do it. She folds her arms. Her tone is steady, cold. This isn't panic. This is pattern. You're going to document, flag, and forward every threat. You're going to log the usernames, the timestamps, the language. I don't want opinions. I want evidence. One intern raises a hand. Ms. Leavitt, they're messaging our parents. The room stiffens. That's new. Mine too, Karoline says quietly. They sent my mother an email with a screenshot of me in college and wrote, "Ask your daughter who funded her career." She doesn't blink. Doesn't flinch. But here's what they don't understand. That photo? It's from a fundraiser for pediatric cancer. They're digging in the wrong place. Her fiancé Daniel calls just after 11 a.m. They found my LinkedIn. His voice is calm, but Karoline knows his tics. The pause between words. The slight tightening at the end of his breath. They're saying I'm part of some PR firm funneling money into your campaign. Which is false, she says. We disclosed everything. There's no connection. I know. But that's not what they care about. One guy even tagged the name of my old college roommate and said we were trained media agents. What does that even mean? Karoline exhales through her nose. It means they're running out of real material. He doesn't say anything for a second. Then, one of the comments had our wedding date. It's not public. That lands differently. She goes quiet. Okay, she says finally. We're escalating this. By lunchtime, her chief of staff has already contacted Capitol Police. The threat protocol kicks in. A digital forensic team is briefed. A private cybersecurity firm, previously on retainer, is activated. They begin scrubbing Karoline's and Daniel's personal digital trail, checking for leaks, breaches, or doxed addresses. The early report is damning. We've identified 6 high-volume Telegram threads and 3 anonymous Discord servers where her full name, campaign address, and past employment history are being dissected. Her brother's name is being linked to a fake Reddit post accusing him of bribing election clerks. There's a meme circulating of her standing next to a blurred man in a cafe. They're claiming it's a Soros rep. It's a college professor from UNH. She sits in silence as the data pours in. Not just a wave. A campaign. Coordinated hashtags. Copy-pasted insults. Photoshopped graphics labeled with QAnon slogans. Karoline, says her digital director gently, this isn't organic. These aren't just trolls. This is industrial. What do you mean? I mean, someone's pushing it. Like they're paying to keep it viral. By 3 p.m., her press secretary takes a deep breath and asks the question no one wants to hear. Should we respond? Karoline looks at the screen. The original 3 Trump posts are still live. Still climbing in engagement. Not retracted. Not clarified. Just hanging in digital air like banners. She folds her hands. Then answers slowly. If I post now, I give them something to punch again. Her voice is low. But locked. If I do this right, there won't be any punches. Just paperwork. Her legal counsel is already in the office, flipping through state and federal case law. They're quiet, serious people. They're not building a thread. They're building a case. At 5:11 p.m., her brother texts her. They're saying I'm paid by the DNC. I'm in algebra, for God's sake. Karoline doesn't reply right away. Then 1 minute later. Block them. Screenshot everything. You're not the story. But you're part of the record now. The next morning, Karoline walks into the campaign headquarters with a yellow folder. Inside, 27 pages. Screenshots of Truth Social posts. PDF exports of DMs. Photos of threats mailed to her house. URLs of conspiracy memes. Transcripts of voicemails. She hands it to her legal team. Begin here, she says. Then she turns to her staff. I know it feels like they're winning right now. She pauses. Looks each one of them in the eye. But that's because they think we'll stay in this room paralyzed, afraid to push back. That's not how we work. That's not who we are. Someone whispers, what are we going to do? Karoline answers with a voice so level it chills the room. We're not tweeting. She holds up the folder. We're suing. You really don't want to say anything? Her communications director stands in the doorway of Karoline's office, eyes slightly red, holding a typed list of media requests. CNN, Fox, The Daily Wire, Newsmax, ABC. Everyone wants a quote, a reaction, a clip, preferably one that can be captioned. Karoline doesn't even look up from her laptop. No. Even a simple clarification? Or just denying the claims? I'm not going to deny something I didn't do, she replies flatly. And I'm not going to legitimize accusations that don't even have punctuation. But Karoline, people are saying you're scared. Now she looks up. Good. A beat of silence. Her voice softens, but not with emotion. With intent. Let them think I'm silent because I'm scared. The quieter I am, the more noise they make. And the louder they get, the easier it is to trace it all back to him. She closes the laptop and pulls a manila envelope from the drawer. Inside are 3 printed screenshots, one of each post from Truth Social. The print quality isn't perfect, but the text is clear enough. Controlled opposition. Rhino sellout. Bought and paid for. Each of the posts is time-stamped. Each is preserved exactly as it appeared. Emoji, punctuation and all. You know what this is? She asks, holding one up. Her chief of staff shrugs. The smear? Karoline shakes her head. No. It's Exhibit A. By noon, she's in a private conference room at a Boston law firm, seated between 2 federal defamation attorneys who have taken down pharmaceutical companies, hedge fund smear machines and viral media hit jobs. But they've never sued a sitting president. We have to begin with a threshold, says Callahan, the elder of the two, glasses perched halfway down his nose. These are public figures. High standard. The burden's on you. I know. We're not saying it's impossible, his partner adds. But you'll need to prove actual malice. Karoline doesn't hesitate. He knew it wasn't true. He didn't care. And you can prove that? She reaches into her leather tote and pulls out a stack of printed documents. Start with this, she says. It's a memo. Her media training briefing from the Fox News segment 2 nights earlier. Her prep notes. The questions she was sent in advance. The transcript of her exact words. No mention of Trump. No critique of his allies. No commentary about his endorsements. Just 3 sentences about youth voter engagement and the need for strategic messaging. And yet, she adds, within 6 hours he accused me of being a media puppet funded by Democrats. The lawyers lean in. And then this. She slides across another document. A cease and desist she received from an anonymous address demanding she renounce her fake conservatism publicly or be exposed further. And this one. A screenshot of a Discord channel with her name as the pinned topic. Find the money trail. Find the family. Find the photo. Let's bury this chick before Friday. The words sting, but Karoline doesn't flinch. Her hands are steady. Her tone doesn't rise. I don't want this for revenge. I want it for record. Her phone buzzes. It's a message from a staffer. Newsmax is speculating that your Fox segment was secretly funded by Democrats. No source. Just vibes. She reads it, then deletes it. Across the table, Callahan flips through the material. This is not just defamation, he says finally. It's coordinated defamation. His partner nods. And it didn't start with some blog. It started with a man who had 91 million followers and a verified blue check. And more power than any media company on earth. Karoline closes her folder. Then let's go on the record. That evening, her inner circle gathers in her apartment. No campaign staff. Just people she trusts. Her mother, her fiancé, her brother, and her lifelong friend Amanda, who's flown in from New York just to make dinner and sit with her. You could just post a statement, Amanda says gently. You're good on camera. You don't have to sue. Karoline smiles. But there's no warmth behind it. They don't want a statement. They want a headline they can spin, a phrase they can rip out of context. Amanda nods reluctantly. So, lawsuit. Lawsuit. She opens her laptop again. On the screen, a new Google Doc titled simply, Leavitt vs. Trump, Master File. The next morning, the printer in her home office hums to life. Page after page. Messages, threads, flagged accounts, images from right-wing forums with her face crossed out. A post reads, Karoline is CIA. The Fox thing was staged. Another says, she's not MAGA. She's deep state in lipstick. Another simply, find her fiancé. Get in his head. She staples them into folders, black, unlabeled, methodical. By the time the sun rises, she's filled 3 binders. She doesn't eat breakfast, doesn't tweet, doesn't film a rebuttal video. Instead, she sits at the table and begins to annotate the timeline. 6:12 a.m., post 1 hits. 6:17 a.m., first threat received via DM. 6:42 a.m., Telegram group begins thread, exposing Karoline. 7:03 a.m., first photo of her fiancé is posted publicly. 8:49 a.m., threat against her brother's school location. She highlights each escalation. Draws arrows from post to consequence. Not just emotion. Causation. By noon, her legal team meets her again. This time they bring in a cyber forensics specialist. He's in his 40s, hunched posture, talks like an engineer but tracks like an investigator. I pulled metadata from the highest velocity attacks, he explains, laying out a digital heat map. The pattern is too tight to be random. This is coordinated. 5 burner accounts posted the same link within 43 seconds. Karoline points to the timestamp. And that link references? The Truth Social post. Word for word. Copy-paste quote. 2 of the accounts were registered within 2 minutes of the post going live. She leans back. That's not a reaction. The forensics expert nods. It's a relay. Callahan taps his pen against the table. If we move fast, we can draft the initial complaint by Saturday morning. Karoline doesn't blink. I want it filed before he deletes the posts. The room goes still. Because he will. Or he'll say he was joking. Or that it was someone on his team. And then the headlines will be about confusion, not accountability. Callahan closes his folder. Then we begin tonight. Back at her apartment, she walks past the television, CNN playing on mute. Chirin reads, Trump slams young GOP figure, not MAGA enough. She turns it off. Because she isn't watching this like a story. She's printing it like a record. She posts nothing for 36 hours. No subtweets. No reactions. No press hits. And in that silence, the speculation only grows. Where is she? Why isn't she defending herself? Is she afraid? They don't realize she's not running from the noise. She's building the container that's going to hold it in court. Saturday morning. The folders are stacked. The complaint is typed. The exhibits are labeled. And the name on the header reads, United States District Court. For the District of Columbia. Karoline Leavitt, plaintiff. Versus Donald J. Trump, defendant. At the bottom, under the printed signatures, is the line Karoline insisted be included verbatim. This is not a press release. This is not a campaign tactic. This is a legal proceeding undertaken solely in pursuit of truth, safety, and redress. She reads it twice. Then she signs. No cameras. No applause. No trending hashtag. Just paper. Just law. Just the beginning. Are you sure you want to do this live? Karoline's press secretary stands just outside the curtain divider in the back of the Manchester Civic Centre conference room, clutching a clipboard and scanning the press list. The chairs are already filling with local reporters, national correspondents, and more than a few unfamiliar faces. C-SPAN is rolling. So is CNN. Even Fox News has a camera crew tucked in the corner. Karoline adjusts the cuff of her blazer, then glances down at her prepared remarks, typed in 14-point font, double-spaced, inside a thin navy binder. I don't want this to go viral, she says calmly. I want it to go on record. Her voice is steady, her posture relaxed but controlled. She's wearing gray, not red. No campaign buttons. No logos. No flags behind the podium. This isn't a rally. It's a reckoning. Inside the room, the tension is palpable. Every chair is taken. The press pool has overflowed into the side aisles. Whispers ripple through the crowd as aides pass around copies of the federal filing, 47 pages, stamped and sealed, each page dense with screenshots, metadata, legal precedent, and declarations under penalty of perjury. And then she walks out. No walk-up music. No preamble. Just the sound of heels on linoleum and the quiet rise of every camera arm in the room. Karoline Leavitt steps behind the podium, places her binder down, opens it, and lifts her eyes to the press. I won't be taking questions today, she begins. And no one interrupts. Her voice is clear but low, cutting through the room like thread through cloth. On Tuesday morning, the former President of the United States used his verified platform to accuse me, without evidence, of criminal activity, foreign allegiance, and campaign finance fraud. His posts were not political disagreement. They were not satire. They were statements of fact. False statements. Maliciously false. She flips the page. Since those posts went live, my family has received threats. My fiancé's employer was contacted with demands for investigation. My teenage brother was pulled from school after anonymous calls. My staff has been doxxed. My campaign headquarters has received over 300 threatening messages in less than 48 hours. There's a shuffling in the media rows. Someone exhales audibly. Karoline doesn't flinch. I did not respond to the posts on social media. I did not issue a press release. I did not attack him back. Instead, I collected every message, every timestamp, every thread and every screenshot. I traced them. I archived them. I sought legal counsel. And this morning I filed a federal lawsuit. A few pens stopped moving. Now it's real. Now it's in court. Behind her, two of her attorneys stand silently, hands folded. To her right, two state legislators, one from Vermont, one from New Hampshire, both Republican women. Not flashy. Not high profile. But present. And that presence says everything. This isn't about party. It's about position. Karoline turns the page again. The complaint alleges defamation with actual malice. It includes over 60 exhibits. These are not feelings. These are facts. And the facts show a direct line between the former president's posts and a coordinated campaign of online harassment, personal threats, and reputational harm. She holds for a beat. This lawsuit is not political theater. It is not a campaign stunt. I'm not fundraising off of it. I'm not posting sound bites. I'm not scheduling interviews. Because this isn't about media. It's about safety, and truth, and boundaries. Her tone sharpens, but only slightly. There are lines. And he crossed one. A murmur ripples again, faint but rising. Cameras zoom in. Let me say this clearly, disagreement is not defamation. Criticism is not harassment. But when a person with 90 million followers uses their platform to declare falsehoods about another American, with no evidence, no warning, and no concern for consequence, that's not protected speech. That's weaponized speech. And it comes with accountability. She closes the binder gently. Doesn't slam it. Doesn't point. This case will proceed in court, not on cable news. I will not be responding to commentary. I will not be arguing on X or Truth Social. I will be cooperating fully with the judicial process and protecting my staff and family in every way I can. She pauses. Looks directly into the CNN camera. We tell young people to get involved. To speak up. To run. We tell women they belong in politics. But then when they do, we let power turn on them the moment they refuse to stay in line. Another pause. No more. The room is completely still. No typing. No side conversations. Just the collective silence of political media realizing something has shifted. Karoline nods once. Then steps back. The press secretary walks forward and announces without flourish. The full legal complaint will be made available online. This concludes today's statement. And with that she walks out the side door. No questions. No spin. No performance. Within the hour, clips of the press conference begin to circulate online. But they're different than usual. No viral shouting. No snappy insults. Just precision. Language that sounds like it's been sharpened, not shouted. On MSNBC, Joy Reid calls it chilling in its restraint. On CNN, Abby Phillip notes, she delivered more force in 3 sentences than most do in an entire campaign speech. Even Brett Baier on Fox admits, this lawsuit is structured. It's detailed. And from what we've seen, it has teeth. Back in the legal team's war room, Karoline sits silently as her attorney reads a quote from a former federal judge, just posted on Politico. If her team has what they claim, this isn't just a lawsuit. This could be a legal precedent in the digital age. She says nothing. Just pulls out her binder and writes one more note at the bottom of her remarks. No counterpunch. Just court. By nightfall, every major outlet has published the story. Washington Post headline. Karoline Leavitt files $100 million lawsuit against Trump over defamatory posts. New York Times headline. From ally to target. Young GOP star strikes back with federal lawsuit. Fox News headline online. Leavitt slaps Trump with lawsuit over allegations she calls malicious lies. CNN Shurin. Karoline Leavitt, not protected speech. Weaponized speech. And perhaps most surprising. Wall Street Journal editorial title. Trump's tweets have consequences. One Republican won't let it slide. Meanwhile, Trump posts again. But not about Karoline. Not about the lawsuit. Just a vague Truth Social screed about fake rhinos and deep state games. No names. No denial. And the original posts? Still live. Still pinned. Still spreading. Karoline's comms director checks the analytics that night. Her campaign's website has seen a 620% traffic spike. But she hasn't posted anything. No tweets. No quote cards. No video responses. Instead, she texts her team one sentence. We're not playing defense. We're forcing discovery. Across the country, news anchors discuss not just what happened, but how she delivered it. She didn't beg for sympathy, says one panelist. She didn't cry. She didn't make herself a victim. She didn't try to go viral, says another. And that's why she went viral. But Karoline doesn't watch any of it. She's home, binder closed, emails archived, threat reports logged. She takes her dinner to the kitchen table, opens a separate laptop, and begins reviewing the federal rules of civil procedure. Not to strategize her next appearance, but to prepare for her next filing. Because this wasn't a media tour. This wasn't a firestorm. This was a record, built, printed, filed. And now served. It wasn't just MSNBC or CNN anymore. By Sunday morning, even Fox and Friends had to acknowledge it. A 5-minute segment. No graphics. No fiery panel. Just Brett Baer reading directly from the complaint and confirming. This lawsuit includes over 60 exhibits, some of which trace specific threats back to within minutes of the president's original posts. Karoline Leavitt didn't celebrate. She didn't share the clip. Her Twitter remained silent. Her legal team issued only one line. We are pleased the case is being covered with the seriousness it deserves. But the moment mattered. Conservative commentators, some who once praised her as the next face of the GOP, now found themselves carefully hedging. She's always been tough, one admitted. But this is methodical. Others weren't so diplomatic. She's made herself a target, grumbled one host. But she's also made herself a precedent. Karoline didn't flinch. Because this wasn't about who covered her. It was about who couldn't afford to ignore her anymore. The filing wasn't built on feelings. It was built on metadata. Karoline's legal team submitted a supplemental evidentiary packet. Timestamped logs, IP traces, and forensic reports that told a simple, irrefutable story. The threats began within minutes of Trump's posts. One digital forensics expert summarized it best. You could set a stopwatch to the escalation. The report showed burner accounts copy-pasting the exact phrases from Trump's Truth Social posts. Some created less than 10 minutes beforehand. One of the most chilling exhibits? A voicemail transcribed in full. We know who you are. Patriots have your address. You're done, fake conservative. Attached to it, the call's origin, a burner number tied to a previously flagged Telegram thread. Her attorneys highlighted 3 core pillars. False statements of fact. Reckless disregard for truth. Documented harm as a result. By the end of the day, analysts across networks were calling it what it was. A cause and effect chain, built for court, not cable. Karoline didn't issue a comment. She didn't need to. The metadata was already speaking for her. The silence inside the GOP wasn't just awkward anymore, it was strategic. Behind closed doors, Republican staffers whispered what few dared to say out loud. He picked the wrong one. Karoline Leavitt had once been hailed as a rising conservative star. Yeah, sure. Loyal. But now she wasn't towing the line, she was drawing one. Some hardliners dismissed her lawsuit as ego-driven. But others, especially younger representatives, watched the evidence pile up and grew uneasy. If she can get targeted like this, one freshman GOP member confided, who's next? Me? Senator Lisa Murkowski broke ranks publicly. Whatever your politics, this kind of personal targeting is dangerous. It's not leadership. Representative Nancy Mace echoed the sentiment. Debate policy all you want, but dragging someone's family and staff into it? That's a line. Meanwhile, major donors quietly reached out to Karoline's team, not with money but with legal referrals and quiet support. No one was clapping on the House floor. But the fracture was real. And the deeper it spread, the clearer it became. This wasn't about party loyalty anymore. It was about self-preservation. Because if Trump could do this to her, no one was safe from becoming next. On Monday morning, Karoline finally posted. No thread. No rant. No red font. Just a black and white screenshot of the court docket with one caption. I didn't respond with a post. I responded with a filing. The tweet went viral in under 10 minutes, not for drama but for what it didn't say. No hashtags. No insults. Just a calm, legal reply to a political earthquake. Commentators from across the aisle shared it with a mixture of disbelief and respect. She didn't try to trend, one journalist wrote. She tried to set precedent. Her attorneys followed with a brief press statement confirming the lawsuit now included supplemental exhibits. Voicemails, IP traces, digital security assessments, and a sworn affidavit from a staffer who received a death threat less than 17 minutes after Trump's post went live. The claim? That Trump's words weren't random attacks. They were deliberate and damaging. And the lawsuit was no longer just about correcting the record, it was about consequences. Her campaign website saw a surge in traffic, but Karoline didn't use it to fundraise. No donation buttons. No calls to action. Instead, she added a new tab, Legal Case, with a PDF link to the full complaint. Because this wasn't a branding war. This wasn't reputation management. This was a case. In court. On record. With facts. And as analysts continued dissecting her legal strategy, one line from her original press conference kept resurfacing. This isn't about who yells loudest. It's about who brings the receipts. She had. And now the former president had no choice. He had to answer.